the only way that you could really voice out your opinion to like a large number of people was through newspapers, mostly, or like TV stations. And these were mostly like controlled by like mega corporations. And now with the advent of the internet, and this is what I wrote my problem essay on my TASO application, it makes it possible for individuals to go against like these like giant corporations. It makes it possible for them to have a voice, and in many cases that has made a difference. Because the corporations can't simply delete every single comment you leave, and people are going to respond to that. People take that to their little blog, and when it gets spread, you have to deal with it. Governments, when there's pressure, they have to deal with it. When it creates like, when it becomes public, when it becomes so that millions of people know about it, then that becomes an issue that requires attention. And in many ways, I think that's why the internet presents a powerful, you can say a weapon, or rather a powerful outlet, or a sense like
forum?
Yeah, a forum, a tool of empowerment for the population. And going back and also addressing the issue of whether we actually have hope, I think we're not just making progress. In terms of the internet, there's progress. But when you look at the gap between the rich and the poor, and how that has increased dramatically from like 1950 to like 2000, what I'm fearing is that more and more people are going to be apathetic. They're going to feel a sense of powerlessness. And that's going to lead to a country led by a small group of elite. And because social mobility is becoming a concept that's more, it's escaping us. Because social mobility, as technology improves, maybe even with designer babies, maybe, this gap between the rich and the poor, the gap between the privileged and the underprivileged, it's going to increase. And if it increases too much, then this foundation for why democracy is such a good form of government, this whole belief in collective wisdom, is no longer going to be relevant. Because you're only going to be able to use the potential of a very limited pool of people. And that's not going to be good for society. We need to form a society in which the potential of all the members of that society can be reached to its maximum, to its fullest extent. Olive.
I totally agree with your last point, and I just want to clarify a couple of things of what I meant by my internet statement, because I do agree that the internet can be a very, very useful tool. I mean, we look at how it mobilized people in Egypt, and that was incredible. But what I'm just saying is that it also makes it easier for people to be content with their apathy, and that you can trick yourself into feeling involved when you're not really involved. I think the danger lies in when everything remains virtual and people don't translate it into reality. And I think that can happen very, very, very easily on the internet. And just bouncing off of Lydia's point, I do think it is also easier on the internet to kind of seek out your community of people who are just like you. And on one hand, that is really empowering. And people who are isolated in their homes or in their communities do need that. But on the other hand, it does stifle discourse in a way that's kind of counterintuitive to how we think the internet might help strengthen discourse. So I think that is the danger. But I do also think that there is a way of coping with the internet, and I'm not like a doomsayer. I have faith, but I just think that, I don't know, I think people can be more content with their apathy.
Okay, I wanted to say that I have this little present for you. This little essay that I published in the Oregonian about Beloved, and you can read it later, or use it as a line of birdcage, whatever.
Yes, I'm going to bring
and
it. I left.
I want to say that you guys are all really wonderful people. And when you go back to your high schools and then on to college for next year, which I'm assuming that you all will do, you'll have opportunities to get together with other people, to form groups of various sorts. And I think it's really important that you take those opportunities and that you interact with other people in your communities in whatever way you see as the most productive way. I also want to encourage you, you see that little thing? I just sort of sat down and wrote it because I had something to say. I had something to say about the fact that Toni Morrison didn't get one prize and then she got another prize, and I wanted everybody to read the book. And I thought, geez, if I want everybody to read the book, it won't do any good to write a critical article about it, which I did eventually, but I want to write for the newspaper. The Oregonian has the biggest circulation in the state of Oregon, and then my local newspaper, maybe they would print it too, and they did. And so I reached thousands and thousands and thousands of people trying to get them to read one book. All I'm saying is that you're all good writers. Honest to God, don't settle for a letter to the editor. 500 words to 750 words. That's what an op-ed is. Just write it, find out who the editor is. Usually on the editorial page, there'll be a contact number, or on the website, there's a contact email. You can just submit an op-ed on whatever, on anything you want to say, but give it some effort and make it your best everything. I say take part in the conversation. Take part in the conversation, whether you're becoming a member of various voluntary associations on a local level, whether you decide to take over Korea, which would be also good, or become an intern in the White House or something. I mean, you guys can do anything you want. And the only thing that will make me sad is if you don't do anything.
On that same note, when I teach women's studies, I use for part of the course a game that is about New York, Greenwich Village, just prior to, a few years prior to the ratification of the 19th Amendment that granted women the vote, and the struggle between various different progressive movements at that time. And there's a lot of real characters in it. And one of the things that I always try to point out to these people in my classes is all of these people are someone just like you. The framers of our Constitution was someone just like you, okay? People, smart people. You're the intellectual elite. We may not be the economic elite, but you're the intellectual elite. You're smart people. You have ideas about the way our society should be, could be, and you have a voice. Remember what Berlin said about the importance of theory and the importance of opening up those discussions. So go out there and use those wonderful voices that you have, that we've read these wonderful papers and listen to all these great ideas that you have in class, and change this world, make it better. You can do it. You're awesome.
Mm-hmm. All right, thanks for a great dinner.
Oh, maybe I will read it later because I'm going to cry anyway. And I will not get completely hysterical.
I have really good at crying.
So,
yeah, we'd love that.
Yep. And if somebody could make sure that Tracy gets these and maybe sends these off to Summer and.
Hey, can we go out on the porch or the lawn or something, get a picture? I'd like to get a picture.
You can get everybody on the porch.